I'm very convinced that this is really coming from lignocellulosic biomass. So this means, in very easy terms, we also call it gasoline. This is basically all next generation fuels out of grass and trees and wood chippings and this type of biomass. To have this next generation of this biofuels ready is probably 5 to 10 years out. So we're using bacteria for this process. So because you need to digest some of this plant material down to some of these accessible sugars, which you then ferment to your biofuels. So there's definitely bacteria and enzymes involved in this process. I know that Craig Venter is trying also to capture sunlight directly through the uptake of CO2. And look, there's a lot of different opportunities out there. We're focusing at the moment on the biomass and the conversion of biomass into these fuels because we feel from the sustainability and from the water usage and from the amount of land we have here in the US that this is a very viable route. So look what I said earlier, it can be ethanol, but it must not be ethanol. So in general, because the critical point right now is how you break down this biomass and then you have the sugars, you can go to ethanol. So let's talk about ethanol a little bit for performance. So there's a lot of studies out also what we're doing at Oak Ridge National Lab that you can fine-tune some of these engines. So ethanol has, because it's not as energy dense as gasoline, so you need more ethanol in comparison to gasoline. So you have a drop of about 20%, but your performance is even better than gasoline. So this is the reason, for example, all the NASCARs are driving on pure ethanol. So the idea is to use this biofuels and look into the opportunity to develop different fuels like a butanol or even hexanes or longer chain alkanes. But I think, frankly, this is not even if we would only do ethanol, I think it is a very good fuel and it is able to replace some of the foreign oil. And if you look at the studies what the UE has done, so we have about the opportunity right now to produce about 1 billion tons of dry mass in biomass, which would, if you turn this over to, let's say, ethanol, we could replace easily about 30% of all oil what we're using now for transportation. So it's a big chunk of oil we could replace by the next generation biofuels. I think we need, in the long run, look at different opportunities to replace oil on the long run. And I think the biofuels will be a very important component for this. I think we could talk a little bit about the sustainability means, how long can we do this, and also if it's really good for the environment. Because at the moment there's a lot of myth out there, and this starts already with corn ethanol. So people say corn ethanol is really bad, it even produces more of these greenhouse gases, and this is all, there's a lot of studies also what the Secretary of Energy just published, I think this week, which definitely shows that this is not the case. So as an example, if we would get rid of all corn-based ethanol right now, we would see a pump at the price increase at the pump of about 20 to 35 cents per gallon right now. So we're producing about 5.5 billion gallons of ethanol right now. And this year it's predicted to be about 7.7 billion gallons. So it's already a big chunk. Is it perfect? No, it's not, because of course it competes with food, but it's a good start to move us in the right direction. And if you look at the sustainability concept, if you go to this gasoline, what I said earlier, so we would reduce greenhouse gas emission of about 85% in comparison to regular gas right now. So it is really very good for the environment and will be a right step in the right direction.